All right, sitting in here in the shop, and here comes Winky. Imagine that. As soon as I start filming, Winky shows up. And no, I don't plan this. She just kind of comes in here. She loves to be in the shop with me. So happy Sunday afternoon from Winky the weirdo and me the other weirdo. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to turn on the little selfie feature on this thing here. And so I'll be talking with just, you'll see my hands and not me. But I'm going to show you through the 62 bassman. I took a little bit of time today to fix that. I was doing some paint work, which got kind of messed up because of the storms we had. It got the humidity all screwy, and so I got to redo a couple of guitar bodies that I was working on. But good for me to do it over and get the practice. Like I really need that. And I'm also going to show you through a Mesa Boogie Mark II amp that I have in here to fix. And it's the customer said, well, I got this thing in a trade and I don't know anything about it. I've never looked inside it, and it doesn't work right. So I opened it up to look at it and see, and figured out immediately why it doesn't work right. And I'll show you that because it's one of those DIY hack kind of things that's just wow. And then so I got to get these two things out of the way, and then get Brent Salisbury's amps back on the bench this week. And also I got to get the Epiphone that I showed you the other day. Then I'm gonna make the bone nut. I'm gonna get that Epiphone done because I got to get it back to the guy on Saturday. So I'll be seeing you guys up in Oklahoma City Saturday. So let me get this, get my crazy whiny kitty off there. Trish is making dinner, so she gets all excited when she smells dinner. So, well, yeah, everybody wants to hear you complaining. So, anyway, let me get her down, and I'll flip this thing over, and we'll show you around a little bit. So, just a moment. All right, so here we go with the 62 bassman. Now, first of all, before I flip this thing over, I'll show you these obviously are not the original capacitors. But the original stuff in this amp looked like that. It's made out of paper. And it's pretty common for 1950s and 60s stuff. But I've replaced it with good stuff that I got from Mojo Tone. It's very high quality. And those are okay. I'm not doing anything else with that. But the reason why I replaced it is because, as you can see, all the rust on the chassis, that's after I cleaned it. I didn't want to repaint it or anything like that because I want to try to keep it looking original as I can. But you can see that I've replaced the power transformer and I've replaced the choke. And this is the output transformer. It's original, and you can see the rust on it. And if I get really close, you can see the rust right in that area, or in between those layers of metal. There's inside those layers, there's paper. Inside this can, there's paper sandwiched around some coils of wire. It's oil impregnated paper, and it's when the amp has been subject to high humidity like this one has, like this particular one here, I'll show you. We'll go over here for just a second. There's the original choke, and I can show you. That's what it looks like. It's if I can get it to where it focuses. That's wraps of paper there. And if I put it on there you go, on a solid surface. It's wraps of paper with coils of wire in between it. And the paper is oil impregnated. Well, what happens is that when it gets subject to high humidity, you end up with that. And the wires, you can see right there, they just literally fell apart. So anyways, I've replaced that, and that's I'm questioning this one. We'll find out when I test it. But one moment, and I'll flip this over. All right, so you can see the insides of it here. This is what I've done so far. Everything that you see that's blue or orange has all been replaced except for this blue. That's what I'm talking about. But these big ones are original, and I'm going to try to retain those. I checked them, and they're good, so I'm going to keep those, because these are part of the original tone of the amp. That's kind of an iconic thing. All of the rest of this is about 80% original. I retained all the wire and just basically replaced the stuff that's failed and modified this. This is not original. This is has a grounded power cable now, like that. Original, it had a 2-prong, which means that this isn't grounded, and you can shock the crapola out of yourself if you're not careful. So anyways, I've replaced all of this stuff, and it should be in good order now. Like I said, I'm going to test it, and when I test it, the only thing left that could cause me any issues is that transformer that I was pointing at a minute ago. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to test it later in the week. I got to get it out of the way and get other stuff on here. So on to the thing I told you was the DIY hack, and I'm going to grab my flashlight here for just a second so I can point with it, because this is just something else. But this is a Mesa boogie from about 1980, 1979, 80, around in there. But I'll start over here and I'll show you. Those are not original. Those are the filter caps, and they're not original. And you can see that those two are just simply hanging off the side of the board there. And if you look right here, if I can shine my light underneath this one, the board actually stops right there, and this one is just kind of hanging in space, which is really terrible. I'll see if I can zoom in on it just for you. But you can see the circuit board stops right there, and this one's just there, and he's literally glued it in place. So and with it still zoomed in, you can see the twisted wires and the terrible solder work. It's just slop and that mess right there. And then electrical tape, of all things. That is a big no-no in an electrical device that's not in your wall of your house. That tape has one purpose. It's to hold wire nuts on in home wiring, on the wiring in your house. It does not belong inside of a guitar amplifier. So there's that. There's some more twisted, shoddy, see if I can zoom in on that some more, twisted wiring around the around the back side of the potentiometers, which it's not supposed to. And look at that big glob mess. So everything that's like that has to be removed, cleaned up, and or replaced. And this one, I'm going to show you something with this second, that middle potentiometer right there. Mesa Boogie has a feature, and I won't get around the front, but each knob has they're not each one, but several of them have this pull feature, which is a switch that activates like a treble boost or a mid boost or something like that. So you have to pull it. Well, the idea is that you can set the knob, for instance, this one's the treble. So you set the treble where you want it, and then you pull it for a boost or whatever without adjusting your settings. Well, this one here is the distortion. It's the gain knob. And you set the gain knob wherever you want it, but strangely enough, it doesn't pull, and it's supposed to. It's a gain boost. Well, listen to this. It's a rotary on-off switch, which means that to turn it on, you turn it on, the boost is on, and then you adjust your gain. So the boost is on all the time, which is fine if you like the distortion, but that you can never turn it off on this thing the way that it's arranged. So there's a bunch of things in here that's going to be real fun to handle, to take care of. So that should be interesting. So anyway, just a moment. All right, we're back to flippy land there. Sorry about the crazy camera stuff. I wanted to do that this time because I had to get everything kind of where you can see it, close up. So because that Mesa Boogie Mark II amp is, I've seen a lot of really screwed up stuff, and I've seen people try to do stuff on their own, and they kind of get it halfway there or whatever. But honestly, and I've worked on a lot of amplifiers. I've been inside a lot of electrical equipment, and whether that be in the guitar world or in the aircraft world, and I have seen some crazy stuff. But that is probably in the top 5 of the worst things that I've ever seen inside an electrical device. That is just awful. And I'm honestly surprised that it worked. And on top of that, I'm honestly surprised that the person didn't either light the thing on fire or shock themselves to a very bad extent. So anyways, that being said, that'll be a fun project to take care of. I told the customer I'll give him an estimate on it because I have no idea. I'm going to have to go item by item in there and find out how much it's going to cost to replace all of those parts that are all screwy. Half of that stuff that's got the globs of solder on it has been destroyed, so it's not. Once I get that off of there, it's not going to be savable. It's the heat damage involved with removing that solder will be beyond repair, so that should be interesting. And when I do test my 62 bassman, you will hear a very loud woohoo if it works, and we'll have a little celebratory rock and roll thing going on in here. Maybe I'll get Gary to come over and play the drums, and we'll rock out a little bit and show that off. So anyway, that's my Sunday afternoon. So I hope you enjoyed the little selfie video tour of my shop and my amplifiers. I was going to show you some paint work and stain work that I was doing out in the garage, but that kind of ended up being completely destroyed from the high humidity. I thought I could beat the storm, but I was gravely mistaken. Now my paint jobs are kind of toast. So they're my paint jobs. So stuff I was building to sell. It's not doesn't belong to anybody else. So I don't have to worry about it. I can just set it off and do it later. So no big deal, but still kind of frustrating. So anyway, happy Sunday afternoon, everybody, and I wish you all the greatest of weeks coming up. And I am going to go in here and have some really good smelling chicken because the kitchen smells really nice. And I'm going to go bother Trish and see what I can get for dinner. So you guys enjoy your Sunday afternoon and the upcoming week. Be safe, and I will see you later on during the week. Bye.